Okay, well, another one of Diddy's assistants took the stand, David James, who was Diddy's assistant from 2007 to 2009. And I guess he was actually crying on the stand. I guess there was a picture of Diddy on the wall, and he was told, this is Mr. Combs' kingdom. We are all here to serve in it. Does that sound like something that would be said?
Of course.
Mr. Combs' kingdom.
Of
we
course.
all serve in it. Like y'all are slaves or something.
I know. That's how he treats you.
Huh.
Yeah. Period, point blank.
Wasn't there issues with you getting overtime?
Of course there was. I spoke about this way before what they was talking about, if you remember. I said we used to work 20 hours a day, sometimes 72 hours. Because see, assistants and security have to be with him at all times. So if he's doing an album, you're inside the studio working for 2 days straight. Meanwhile, he got things to keep him up. You don't have nothing to keep you up. And it was a time that he was at Atlantic Records. Bad Boy was underneath Atlantic Records. So our timesheets would go into Atlantic Records to Craig Cowman, Julie and them. It would go into them. And they seen the hours that was on there. So they would have to bill Bad Boy because Bad Boy had a certain amount of money. And one day we was driving in the car and Puff said, "What the fuck? What the fuck?" And he said, "Yo, you doing this shit to me too?" So he found out that people was putting in the hours that they really was working. You know what I'm saying? We're working 120 hours in a week and things like that. And he's like, nah, I can't pay y'all for that. And everybody was like, yo, this is just what we working. We just putting in. Call time is 7 in the morning. We here until 4 in the morning. We at Bad Boy Studio till 4 in the morning. So what he did with me was the young lady, Tony Fletcher, that was head of finance, and Bad Boy came to me and said, Barnes, either you leave or you change these hours. You know what I'm saying? And she made me change my hours to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, right?
But that's still overtime, though.
Huh?
That's still overtime. So, for example...
That's overtime, but that's not what I'm working. I'm working 20 hours a day.
Yeah, that's crazy because I've got a staff of like 11 people. Mm-hmm. And I have to follow the rules. If you work more than 8 hours a day or more than 40 hours a week, you get paid time and a half. My employees could attest to this.
Right.
I don't expect anyone to work more than 40 hours and not get paid time and a half.
Right.
Or else I'm going to deal with the labor department.
Right.
But he was basically purposely underpaying people?
Purposely.
Huh.
Purposely. Because the hours that he was doing, like even the driver went, he would put in how many hours he rode with Puff Atlantic. He made the driver. He said, yo, I can only pay you, I think it was $65,000. And the driver was making like $160,000, $170,000 because of the hours. And he made him do that. He lost his house and everything else. But Puff came and told him, he said, yo, man, do me a favor. I need you to stay with me. I trust you. He said, but if you just need some money from time to time, just ask me and I'll give it to you out of my pocket. Well, he did that once or twice, but then when the driver needed some more money, he was like, yo, I don't have it. I don't have it. I don't have it.
Yeah, it's really interesting how cheap Puffy is considering his net worth. Because, you know, I'd even heard that he was trying to like cut corners with his legal bills and his legal defense. Like I heard that this defense should have cost way more money. There should be way more experts or whatever else. But Puff was like, nah, that's too much. I'm not going to spend that much. And it's like, yo, like your life is on line right now. You're facing life in prison. Like, but yeah, the cheapness I heard just is a little weird considering how much he's worth. And, you know, I mean, down to the point of just, okay, it's cool to be, you know, if you want to be cheap, if you don't want to tip 20%, you know, whatever else, there's nothing illegal. You don't have to tip. Right. But legally, you have to pay people overtime.
Right.
I am familiar with this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I told my employees, y'all got to work 60 hours a week and I'm only going to pay you for 40, at some point, one of them's going to get sick of it, go to the labor department, and then I'm going to have a case with the labor department where they're going to go through all my records, and then I'm going to have to pay penalties and fines and so forth. So I've always been very clean about this. Why do you think he was being cheap to his own detriment in a way?
Because back at that time, like even when I heard like during Sarah's testimony and a couple of other people's testimony where it must have came to a point where Labor Department got involved and they figured out how much money they was owed overtime. That never happened when we was there. Because if it would have happened when we was there, I would have got $100,000, $200,000 easy in overtime pay. Money is his love, man. When it comes to Puff is so cheap to the point where we was on the last train to Paris tour. And you know, security makes extra money doing little things. You might get a certain amount of passes, a certain amount of tickets every concert. So, you know, you get somebody, because you can't do it, you get somebody to stand out there and scalp the tickets for you. He wants
that's how you guys would make extra money?
That's how we had to make extra money.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
To scrape.
Oh yeah, we got 20 extra tickets for this concert in Germany and London. So now you find somebody else that can stand out there and say, yo, you take half, you give me half.
That's crazy.
Blah, blah, blah. We're going to sell these tickets for X amount.
Wow.
But after the tour is over, Puff wants to know how much money you made off the extra tickets because he wants his percentage.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? And
That's crazy.
This is real shit. Like,
wow.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I used to get so upset when he talk about, yo, I pay this, I pay this, I pay that. You don't pay shit. You don't pay nobody.